Catherine Martinez stared at her computer screen, watching the rain streak down the office window behind her monitor. The gray London sky matched her mood perfectly. For 3 years, she had been working at the same marketing firm, sitting in the same cubicle, attending the same boring meetings about quarterly reports and client satisfaction surveys. At 28, she felt like her life had become a never-ending loop of alarm clocks, coffee runs, and subway commutes. The email notification sound broke her concentration. Another meeting request for next Tuesday. Catherine sighed and closed her laptop with more force than necessary. Her colleague James looked up from his desk nearby, raising an eyebrow at her obvious frustration. "Rough day already?" he asked, glancing at the clock that showed it was only 10 in the morning. "Rough year, more like it," Catherine replied, leaning back in her ergonomic chair that somehow still managed to make her back ache. "I need a break, James, like a real break. Not just a long weekend in Brighton or a quick trip to Paris." James nodded knowingly. He had been at the company for 5 years and understood the feeling all too well. "When was the last time you took a proper vacation?" Catherine thought about it for a moment. There was that week she spent helping her sister move apartments, and the few days she took off when she had the flu, but an actual vacation where she went somewhere exciting and did things she loved? She couldn't remember. "I honestly can't tell you," she admitted. "Maybe that trip to Scotland 2 years ago, but even then I was checking emails every day." That evening, Catherine sat in her small flat in Camden, surrounded by travel magazines she had impulsively bought from the corner shop. The covers promised exotic beaches, mountain adventures, and cultural experiences that seemed worlds away from her daily reality. She opened a bottle of wine and spread the magazines across her coffee table, creating a colorful mosaic of possibilities. The first magazine featured a stunning photograph of a Greek island. White buildings cascaded down cliffsides toward impossibly blue waters. Catherine could almost feel the warm Mediterranean breeze and taste the fresh seafood. She had always been drawn to the idea of Greece, with its rich history, beautiful landscapes, and relaxed lifestyle. The thought of spending lazy afternoons reading books under an olive tree while listening to the gentle sound of waves seemed like paradise. But then she flipped to another page and saw pictures of a safari in Kenya. Majestic elephants wandered across golden savannas while giraffes stretched their long necks to reach acacia leaves. Catherine had loved animals since she was a child, and the idea of seeing these magnificent creatures in their natural habitat made her heart race with excitement. She imagined waking up to the sound of lions roaring in the distance and falling asleep under a canopy of stars brighter than any she had ever seen in the city. Her phone buzzed with a text from her best friend Emma. "Want to grab dinner tomorrow? I have news." Catherine smiled and typed back, "Yes, and I have some planning to do. Bring your passport." The next day at lunch, Emma practically bounced in her seat as she shared her news about a promotion at her law firm. Catherine congratulated her friend genuinely, but her mind kept wandering to the travel research she had done the night before until 3 in the morning. "You seem distracted," Emma observed, picking at her salad. "What's going on?" "I'm planning the perfect vacation," Catherine announced. "Not just any vacation. The one I'll remember for the rest of my life." Emma's eyes lit up. "Tell me everything." Catherine pulled out her phone, which was now filled with screenshots of destinations, hotel reviews, and activity recommendations. "I've narrowed it down to 3 options: Greece for the culture and relaxation, Kenya for the adventure and wildlife, or maybe something completely different like Thailand for the food and beaches." "Why not all 3?" Emma suggested with a grin. "Because I'm not a millionaire," Catherine laughed. "I've been saving money for 2 years, but I need to be smart about this. Whatever I choose has to be perfect." Over the following weeks, Catherine threw herself into vacation planning with the same intensity she usually reserved for work projects. She created detailed spreadsheets comparing costs, activities, weather patterns, and travel requirements for each destination. Her lunch breaks were spent reading travel blogs and watching YouTube videos of people exploring the places she dreamed of visiting. The Greece option would cost around £3,000 for 2 weeks, including flights, accommodation, and activities. She could island hop through Santorini, Mykonos, and Crete, exploring ancient ruins during the day and enjoying fresh seafood and local wine in charming tavernas at night. The weather would be perfect in late spring, with warm days and cool evenings ideal for long walks along cobblestone streets. Kenya presented a different kind of adventure, but at a similar price point. A 10-day safari experience would include game drives in the Masai Mara, visits to local villages, and the chance to witness the annual wildebeest migration. Catherine had read that many people described African safaris as life-changing experiences that put everything into perspective. Thailand offered the best value for money and the most diverse experiences. For less than £2,000, she could spend 3 weeks exploring bustling Bangkok markets, relaxing on pristine beaches in the south, and learning to cook authentic Thai cuisine in cooking classes. The food alone made her mouth water every time she researched Thai restaurants in London. Catherine's research became so thorough that her co-workers started calling her the office travel expert. People would stop by her desk to ask for restaurant recommendations in cities they were visiting or advice about travel insurance. She didn't mind the interruptions. Talking about travel made her feel more connected to the adventure she was planning. One evening, while video chatting with her parents in Manchester, her mother noticed the travel books scattered around Catherine's apartment in the background. "Planning something exciting, love?" her mother asked, with the knowing smile that only mothers possess. "The trip of a lifetime." "Mum," Catherine replied, "I just need to make the final decision." Her father leaned into view on the screen. "Whatever you choose, make sure it's something you'll remember forever. Life's too short to stay in one place." Those words stuck with Catherine as she continued her research. She realized that she wasn't just planning a vacation, she was planning a transformation. This trip would mark the end of her routine-focused life and the beginning of something new and exciting. It would prove to herself that she was capable of adventure and spontaneity. The decision-making process became more intense as Catherine's departure date approached. She had requested 3 weeks off work and received approval, marking the dates on her calendar in bright red ink. Her savings account had reached its target amount, and her passport was ready and waiting. The final decision came to Catherine during a particularly stressful Tuesday morning. Her boss had called an emergency meeting about a client crisis. The coffee machine in the office had broken down, and the rain hadn't stopped for 3 days straight. As she sat in the conference room listening to discussions about damage control and overtime schedules, Catherine looked out the window and made her choice. Thailand. The land of smiles, incredible food, stunning beaches, and adventures waiting around every corner. Something about the idea of complete cultural immersion appealed to her more than the familiar European charm of Greece or the structured safari experience of Kenya. She wanted to challenge herself, try new things, and step completely outside her comfort zone. That afternoon, Catherine booked her flights to Bangkok with trembling hands and a racing heart. 3 weeks in Thailand, starting in the vibrant capital city, then traveling north to Chiang Mai for cultural experiences, and finishing with relaxation time on the beaches of Krabi in the south. The confirmation email felt like a golden ticket to freedom. Emma shrieked with excitement when Catherine called to share the news. "Thailand! Oh my God, Catherine, you're going to have the most amazing time. Promise me you'll try everything, the street food, the temples, the massages, everything." The weeks leading up to her departure flew by in a whirlwind of preparation. Catherine researched Thai customs and basic phrases, bought lightweight clothing suitable for the tropical climate, and invested in a good camera to document her adventure. She read travel guides cover to cover and watched documentaries about Thai culture and history. Her co-workers organized a small farewell party on her last day, complete with a cake decorated with a tiny airplane and palm trees. James presented her with a travel journal, encouraging her to write down every detail of her experiences. "Don't you dare come back as the same person," he said with a grin. "I want to hear stories that make me incredibly jealous." Catherine's flight departed from Heathrow on a Friday evening in early May. As the plane lifted off from the runway, she pressed her face against the window and watched London shrink below her. The gray cityscape gave way to countryside, then ocean, then clouds. She was really doing it. After months of dreaming and planning, she was finally on her way to the other side of the world. The 14-hour flight to Bangkok gave Catherine plenty of time to think about what she hoped to gain from this experience. She wanted to prove to herself that she was brave enough for solo travel, curious enough to embrace new cultures, and strong enough to handle whatever challenges came her way. More than anything, she wanted to rediscover the sense of wonder and excitement that had been buried under years of routine. Bangkok hit Catherine like a wave of sensory overload the moment she stepped out of the air-conditioned airport. The humidity wrapped around her like a warm blanket, the air filled with unfamiliar scents of street food and incense, and the sounds of traffic and vendors created a symphony completely different from London's urban noise. She took a deep breath and smiled widely. This was exactly what she had needed. Her taxi ride to the hotel took her through streets that seemed to pulse with life even though it was nearly midnight. Neon signs advertised everything from massage parlors to noodle stands, tuk-tuks weaved between cars with impressive agility, and the sidewalks bustled with people going about their evening routines. Catherine kept her camera ready, trying to capture the energy of the city through the taxi window. The boutique hotel she had chosen in the historic Ratanakosin district was a perfect blend of traditional Thai architecture and modern comfort. The lobby featured beautiful wood carvings and fresh flowers, while her room overlooked a quiet courtyard garden. After checking in and freshening up, Catherine realized she was too excited to sleep despite her exhaustion. Against all logical advice about jet lag, she decided to take a short walk around her neighborhood. The night air was still warm and humid, carrying the complex aroma of Thai cooking from nearby restaurants. Street vendors were still serving customers from their colorful food carts, and Catherine's stomach rumbled as she watched skilled cooks prepare dishes she couldn't identify but desperately wanted to try. Her first meal in Thailand was pad thai from a small cart operated by an elderly woman who spoke very little English but communicated volumes through her warm smile and enthusiastic gestures. Catherine pointed at the ingredients she wanted, and the woman expertly stir-fried noodles with shrimp, bean sprouts, and a perfect balance of sweet and spicy flavors. Standing on the sidewalk, eating from a paper container with chopsticks, Catherine felt more alive than she had in years. The following morning, Catherine woke up before dawn, her body clock completely confused, but her spirit energized. She decided to start her first full day with a visit to Wat Pho, the famous temple complex known for its massive reclining Buddha statue. The early morning timing meant she could explore before the crowds arrived and experience the temple during morning prayers. Walking through the ornate temple gates felt like entering another world. The detailed architecture, golden decorations, and intricate murals told stories of Buddhist teachings and Thai history. Catherine found herself moving slowly through the complex, absorbing every detail and feeling a sense of peace she rarely experienced in London. The massive reclining Buddha, covered in gold leaf and stretching nearly 50 meters long, left her speechless. An elderly monk noticed her obvious awe and approached with a gentle smile. In careful English, he explained some of the symbolism in the temple decorations and invited her to participate in a short meditation session with a group of international visitors. Catherine had never meditated before, but she found herself sitting cross-legged on a wooden floor, trying to quiet her mind and focus on her breathing while listening to the soft chanting in the background. After the temple visit, Catherine decided to explore Bangkok's famous weekend market at Chatuchak. The market sprawled across multiple acres and contained thousands of stalls selling everything imaginable. She wandered through sections dedicated to handicrafts, vintage clothing, antiques, plants, and of course food. The variety was overwhelming in the best possible way. Catherine discovered her love for Thai iced tea, a sweet and creamy orange-colored drink that became her go-to refreshment throughout the day. She bought handmade silver jewelry from a friendly vendor who taught her a few Thai words, sampled exotic fruits she had never heard of, and purchased colorful silk scarves that would remind her of this adventure long after she returned home. The language barrier proved less challenging than she had expected. Most vendors spoke enough English for basic transactions, and Catherine found that smiles, gestures, and her phrasebook could bridge most communication gaps. People seemed genuinely pleased when she attempted to speak Thai, even if her pronunciation was terrible. That evening, Catherine treated herself to a traditional Thai massage at a well-reviewed spa near her hotel. The experience was unlike any massage she had ever received, more like assisted yoga performed on a mat on the floor. The masseuse used her entire body to stretch and manipulate Catherine's muscles, working out tension she hadn't realized she was carrying. By the end of the 2-hour session, Catherine felt like she was floating. Her second day in Bangkok included a boat tour of the Chao Phraya River and its network of canals, known as klongs. The long-tail boat taxi provided a different perspective on the city, showing her traditional wooden houses on stilts alongside modern skyscrapers. She visited the Grand Palace complex, with its stunning Emerald Buddha temple, and marveled at the level of craftsmanship in every surface decoration. Catherine also discovered the joy of Thai cooking classes. The half-day course took place in a traditional house with an open-air kitchen, where she learned to prepare tom yum soup, green curry, and mango sticky rice from scratch. The instructor, a cheerful woman named Nim, taught Catherine about the importance of balancing sweet, sour, salty, and spicy flavors in Thai cuisine. Catherine had always enjoyed cooking, but had never experienced the meditative quality of grinding curry paste by hand, or the satisfaction of creating complex flavors from simple ingredients. As her time in Bangkok drew to a close, Catherine reflected on how much she had already changed in just a few days. She felt more confident navigating unfamiliar environments, more open to trying new experiences, and more appreciative of the small moments that made travel magical. The busy energy of the city had initially felt overwhelming, but now she found herself energized by the constant activity and endless possibilities for discovery. The overnight train to Chiang Mai provided Catherine with one of her most memorable travel experiences. She had booked a second-class sleeper berth, curious about this classic way of traveling through Thailand. As the train pulled away from Bangkok's central station, Catherine watched the urban landscape gradually give way to rice paddies, small villages, and lush green countryside she had only seen in photographs. Her bunk was surprisingly comfortable, and the gentle rocking motion of the train car helped her fall into the deepest sleep she had experienced since arriving in Thailand. She woke up to sunlight streaming through her window and a landscape that looked completely different from the bustling capital city. Rolling hills covered in tropical vegetation stretched to the horizon, occasionally interrupted by small farming communities and Buddhist temples glinting gold in the morning light. Chiang Mai welcomed Catherine with cooler temperatures and a more relaxed pace that felt perfect after the intensity of Bangkok. The old city, surrounded by ancient walls and a moat, contained hundreds of temples, traditional markets, and guest houses that seemed designed for travelers seeking authentic cultural experiences. Catherine had booked accommodation in a charming wooden guest house run by a local family who treated guests like visiting relatives. Her first priority in Chiang Mai was visiting an ethical elephant sanctuary about an hour outside the city. Catherine had researched extensively to find a facility that focused on elephant welfare rather than entertainment. The sanctuary rescued elephants from logging operations and tourism venues, providing them with natural habitat and proper veterinary care. Meeting the elephants proved to be one of the most emotional experiences of Catherine's life. These massive, gentle creatures showed such intelligence and personality that she found herself fighting back tears as she fed them bananas and sugar cane. Her guide explained each elephant's history and personality, and Catherine was struck by their individual quirks and social relationships. An elderly female named Lila seemed to take a special liking to Catherine, gently touching her arm with her trunk and following her around the enclosure. The sanctuary also offered visitors the chance to help prepare elephant food and assist with basic care activities. Catherine spent the entire day learning about elephant behavior, helping to prepare nutritious meals, and observing the complex social dynamics within the herd. By evening, she felt like she understood something fundamental about the importance of treating animals with respect and dignity. Chiang Mai's night markets provided a completely different experience from Bangkok's grand weekend market. The evening bazaars felt more intimate and community-oriented, with local families selling handmade crafts alongside vendors offering regional specialties like khao soi, a rich coconut curry noodle soup that became Catherine's new favorite comfort food. Catherine also signed up for a 3-day trek through the mountains surrounding Chiang Mai, including visits to hill tribe villages and overnight stays in local homestays. The trek challenged her physically, but rewarded her with stunning mountain views, encounters with exotic wildlife, and insights into traditional ways of life that had remained largely unchanged for generations. Her hill tribe homestay with the Karen people opened Catherine's eyes to a completely different relationship with nature and community. The family she stayed with lived in a traditional bamboo house without electricity or running water, growing their own food and making almost everything they needed by hand. Despite the language barrier, Catherine felt welcomed and included in daily activities like rice harvesting, weaving, and meal preparation. The children in the village were particularly delighted by Catherine's presence, teaching her traditional games and laughing at her attempts to weave baskets from bamboo strips. In return, Catherine shared photos from London on her phone, which fascinated the kids who had never seen snow or tall buildings. These exchanges reminded Catherine that human connection transcends language and cultural differences. During her final days in Chiang Mai, Catherine took a Thai massage course to learn the basic techniques she had experienced in Bangkok. The week-long intensive training was taught in a traditional medicine school, where she studied alongside other international students and local practitioners. Learning to give massages required her to be present and focused in ways that her office job never demanded. The course also introduced Catherine to Thai philosophy about the connection between physical and emotional well-being. She learned about energy lines in the body, the importance of mindful touch, and the healing power of human connection. By the end of the week, Catherine felt like she had gained practical skills and a deeper understanding of holistic health approaches. Her journey south to Krabi marked the final phase of her Thai adventure. After 2 weeks of cultural immersion and physical challenges, Catherine was ready for some beach relaxation and water activities. The dramatic limestone cliffs rising from turquoise waters created one of the most beautiful landscapes she had ever seen, and her beachfront bungalow provided the perfect setting for reflection on her experiences. Krabi offered Catherine the chance to try rock climbing on the famous limestone cliffs, snorkeling among coral reefs, and kayaking through mangrove forests. Each activity pushed her comfort zone in different ways, but she approached every challenge with confidence she hadn't possessed 3 weeks earlier. The shy, routine-focused woman who had left London felt like a distant memory. One particularly meaningful experience was a solo kayak trip through the mangrove channels of Ao Tha Lane. Paddling quietly through the twisted root systems, Catherine observed birds, fish, and reptiles in their natural habitat while enjoying complete solitude and silence. The peaceful environment provided the perfect space for processing everything she had learned about herself during the trip. On her final evening in Thailand, Catherine sat on the beach watching the sunset paint the sky in brilliant oranges and pinks. She opened the travel journal James had given her and began writing about her transformation over the past 3 weeks. The timid office worker who had been afraid to try street food was now someone who had climbed mountains, lived with hill tribes, and learned to give traditional massages. More importantly, Catherine realized that she had rediscovered her curiosity about the world and her confidence in her ability to handle new situations. The trip had reminded her that life could be an adventure if she was willing to step outside her comfort zone and embrace uncertainty. The flight back to London felt surreal after 3 weeks of constant new experiences. As the plane descended through the familiar gray clouds over Heathrow, Catherine felt a mix of sadness about leaving Thailand and excitement about applying her new perspectives to her life back home. Emma was waiting at the arrivals gate with a huge smile and an armful of flowers. "Look at you," she exclaimed, noting Catherine's sun-bronzed skin and relaxed expression. "You look completely different. Tell me everything." Over dinner that evening, Catherine shared stories and photos from her adventure, while Emma listened with obvious envy and delight. But when Emma asked if she was sad to be back, Catherine surprised herself with her answer. "I'm actually excited," she said. "Thailand taught me that I don't need to wait for perfect conditions to make changes in my life. I can create adventure and meaning right here in London." Within a month of returning home, Catherine had made several significant changes to her routine. She signed up for Thai cooking classes at a local community center, joined a hiking group that explored the countryside around London on weekends, and began volunteering at an animal rescue organization inspired by her elephant sanctuary experience. Most importantly, Catherine started planning her next adventure. The travel research spreadsheets returned to her computer screen, but this time she approached them with the confidence of someone who knew she could handle whatever challenges awaited. Her Thailand experience had proven that the best way to grow was to say yes to opportunities that scared and excited her in equal measure. Her colleagues noticed the change immediately when she returned to work. Catherine spoke up more in meetings, suggested creative solutions to problems, and approached her projects with renewed energy. She still worked in the same cubicle and attended the same types of meetings, but her perspective on the possibilities within her routine life had expanded dramatically. James commented that it was like working with a completely different person. "Thailand really did change you," he observed during one of their coffee breaks. "It reminded me who I was before I got stuck in this routine," Catherine replied. "Turns out I'm someone who likes adventure and trying new things. I just forgot for a while." Catherine's perfect vacation had accomplished everything she had hoped for and more. It had provided incredible experiences, challenged her in unexpected ways, and most importantly, reminded her that she was capable of creating the life she wanted rather than simply accepting the life she had inherited. As she looked ahead to future adventures and continued growth, Catherine realized that the most valuable souvenir from Thailand wasn't any of the handicrafts or photographs she had brought home. It was the rediscovered knowledge that she was brave, curious, and capable of handling whatever life might offer her next. Her summer escape had become the foundation for a completely new approach to living, and she couldn't wait to see where that would take her.